is a very strong, well, I mean, there are other champions that could definitely scale up against the Lucian, but sometimes good teams really won't let you scale up. They'll end it right away, especially with that Lucian pick.
They just won't let you take an opportunity to scale up and finish it fast, win some skirmishes, get the objectives that you need, and push in for the win. And looking at the other bands here, it seems like these teams are really looking to stifle team fight presence here. So with the Silas band, with the Lilia band here, they don't want, and the Ash band here coming in from Viridis Arcus, they don't want to have to deal with like the Silas taking a big ulti, the Ash coming in with huge initiates, the Golden Eagles as well. It seems like they are really trying to avoid these more skirmishy comps here from the archers here from Viridis Arcus, and Golden Eagles with a priority on the Graves, one of the fastest high damage junglers that we have in the meta right now. It's definitely not a bad pickup.
Yeah. And wait, this is something odd. Okay, sige. They're locking in the Hecarim. I thought the Nami was gonna be the lock-in. I haven't seen a support priority pick for so long. I remember back in like 4 years ago, Hyron, around 3 to 4 years ago, supports were the first picks most of the time, mainly because it wouldn't reveal a lot of the things that you want to do with their composition. But throughout time, we've seen drafts evolve as well with the meta, and now we're seeing a lot of power picks first, even if they're susceptible to getting countered. Again, let's look at this Graves. Graves last week performed really well in NCO, but let's remind ourselves that Graves got nerfed. Less armor on that E. That means he won't be as gritty as he is last week or even on a few patches ago. And Hecarim is still in the
well
Hecarim is, I mean, Hecarim got a nerf, but it's not entirely a big nerf as the Graves one yet.
And looking at the others here, wow, okay, Golden Eagles here coming in with Ornn. Of course, I think that's the highest presence top laner that we've had in international play for the past few patches. And for good reason. The team fight presence is just too much, and just being able to get some extra stats out on those items from your friends is definitely a huge pickup. And the TF pickup here, super interesting. Of course, it still has high presence in pro play. I'm wondering if the Golden Eagles will be able to make the full use of this TF, because you need to be able to coordinate so well with your team for it to be useful at all.
Yeah, and the Twisted Fate pick is not always the, let's just say, the lane heavy champion to pick. Yes, you have that point and click stun, but it's not always gonna set it up perfectly for your jungler. But there is a little bit of potential over here. You have a Graves, he has the damage, you have the CC. If you're able to stun up your matchup just enough in the right position, then maybe the Graves could pick up a few kills. But I'm saying that this Twisted Fate will be more on the macro side of things. You would want to go to the bottom lane or top lane to secure assists or even kills of your own, and then just perma-shove your lane with your wild cards.
Yeah, and looking at how Golden Eagles has saved their bot lane pickups, it seems like we might see this TF a lot bot side, wanting to get this bot lane in an advantageous position. And Viridis Arcus notices that, of course. And the Ezreal and the Rakan bans here against the Golden Eagles, taking away the safety and the engage potential here. The all-in potential of that Rakan is just too big. And with the safety of that Ezreal, it would be unbearable here, even with the support from Kaoru and Pards here. But Golden Eagles, they see that Duckman here, one of our most popular mid laners from Alliance League previously. Definitely a lot of respect going into these bans. He's super versatile mid laner. Can play the Syndra, can play the Orianna, and the Galio as well. So
you're forgetting one thing, man. He is the Anivia player for Viridis Arcus, and
I'm not sure if we'll see it here. Yeah, but I'm not sure if we'll see it here. Looking at this comp, actually, it's quite possible.
Yeah, it is.
Looking at it right now, they have. We're looking at the Shen, looking at the Caitlyn. I feel like the Anivia could be a good pickup here, but I'm not sure if the Viridis Arcus would want to show want to play that card again this early in the National Campus Open. As for the Golden Eagles, though, finalizing their bot lane here.
Well, I feel like they really don't have a choice.
Ooh,
They need to make sure that this last pick will round up their composition and try to score
okay.
a win. They are 0-1 right now. And again, for our viewers over here, the only team that will get out of their group is their top one
Mhm.
seed. We have 4 groups with 4 teams each. So if they don't win this, lalabo yung tsansa nila
Mhm.
na makaangat dun sa top spot. And a 0-2 would almost mean na
Walang chance.
ma-
Kasi it's
isang
single
walang
round
chance na
robin in the group
malabo.
eh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, based on math, actually, wala
Yeah.
talaga. So for Viridis Arcus, this is the game to win. They need to make sure that they win this for them to secure a chance to still get out of their groups. So for Golden Eagles, the goal here is to get that 2-0 lead and be the top of their groups as for now.
Yeah, and they're super hungry. Just looking at their comp, this is a comp that we'll be seeing a lot of bot lane dives here, a lot of aggressive plays bot lane. You've got the Leona, you got the damage from the Jin. You add upon that the Deadly Flourish just to lock them down even further. Destiny in with a gold card. And that's just a done deal there for the Golden Eagles if Viridis Arcus doesn't play this correctly. However, it seems like Viridis Arcus has picked up a comp here that can handle that kind of pressure, that can handle that kind of high impact high octane gameplay from the Golden Eagles. They've got the Shen up top. They've got Caitlyn, super safe bot laner, and the Braum there as their defender and defender support and a bot side. This is definitely looking to be a spicy, spicy game here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you over here. This looks to be a very high octane game, but still, looking at the late game of both teams, I just have to say that Corki will be the guy to look at, especially in the late game. I mean, Caitlyn would have his power spike in the mid game, but late game wise, that Corki will absolutely shred anyone. Even Cyanide on this Ornn, shred niyan mamaya
Yep.
late game. But that's
Yep,
around
that
2
is
to
true,
3
yeah.
items. Maybe a Muramana in, a Trinity Force, and Infinity Edge. You need to have those 3 items, or maybe replace the Infinity Edge with another crit-based item. But I'm not seeing this Corki popping off early on unless Golden Eagles is going to throw their early game. But
Mhm.
looking at how they're built right now, looks like they're gonna play the long game here. They
Yeah,
have the
definitely.
range, they have the protection for their carries, and they have technically 3 marksmen and 2 tanks.
Mhm.
They have
They-
a Twisted Fate, which is in an essence a mage and a marksman. I mean, you still gotta auto attack, especially with your cards and your passive. And again, having the range and the ability to throw those crowd controls up in the air ng biglaan, especially with the Leona, is a tool that Golden Eagles can use to secure key kills, or let's just say key pickoffs against DLSU. So for DLSU, I feel like the main thing for them is to stay careful. I really do hope that they
and their
don't
comp supports
commit
it.
mistakes. I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen our fair share of DLSU mistakes from Alliance League, and I hope to not see any Raptor camp mistakes in this game.
I mean, during the entire break that we've had in between splits, they definitely have had time to get acclimated more, to practice and learn, and that's really what AcadArena is all about: being able to learn from your experiences, being able to learn from being a semi-pro player in the collegiate league. And these guys have fought tooth and nail past the qualifiers, and they're here and they're hungry. They want those wins, and I hope that they've learned from those mistakes in the previous split. But looking at the comp that they have, it seems that they have the tools to avoid those mistakes. This kind of comp has a lot of leeway when it comes to playing around this comp by Golden Eagles here, because they do have, like I said, they do have the protection. And the Golden Eagles, this is a comp that just really wants to stay ahead early. Because if you pick up a Leona's not really useful if you're the ones playing on the back foot. But of course, that's what we think, right, Omi?
I mean,
We're also gonna have to ask about what you guys, the fans, the supporters of these teams, think, because we're gonna have our chat rally, our hashtag Low Prepaid Virtual Hangouts chat rally for today. Just share the stream publicly with a hashtag Globe Prepaid Virtual Hangout. And of course, the hashtag of the school that you are supporting, hashtag USA Win or hashtag DLSU Win.
yeah, make sure to support your favorite team. And I'm reading the comments on the left side of my screen right now. So kung natitingnan yung gumaganito ako, pinapanood ko yung mga comments natin dito. And there are a lot of USA supporters over here. I feel like hindi pa ata gising ang mga tao ng DLSU because USA right now, they are wildin'. Supporting Kaoru left and right. But of course, not just Kaoru, the entirety of USA. But
Yeah.
looks like Kaoru seems to be their favorite player in USA. So make sure to share the stream publicly again with the hashtag Globe Prepaid Virtual Hangouts and hashtag USA Win. Or if you wanna go hashtag DLSU Win, then go for hashtag DLSU Win. But I have to say that USA right now, the fans are out there for Golden Eagles. So sana yung Viridis Arcus fans natin dyan bigla na rin lumabas because man, if may fan war ngayon, puro USA lang naririnig natin.
Yeah. I want to see all of these DLSU fans come out of the woodwork, out of the Sherwood work, rest in peace, Sherwood. But yeah, coming into this first game that we have today, these teams need your support. And of course, like we said, it's part of the mechanics. Don't just share the stream for the prize. Share the stream to support these teams because this community is thriving, and we really just want to keep this community growing, keep this community healthy. So share your support for your schools. This is going to be an exciting National Campus Open group stage, and I'm really excited.
Finally, we have people
DLSU.
from DLSU.
We got DLSU.
So yan, nagtatawag na nga ang Viridis Arcus for the fan chant or fan, ano ito, fan chant, K-pop. Now we're entering the first match of today. It's going to be USA Golden Eagles on the blue side and DLSU Viridis Arcus on the red side. Again, this is the first match of National Campus Open League of Legends group stages. And I think this is Group A. Let's just wait mamaya sa schedule natin. But looks like both teams are going to opt for very defensive starts.
Yeah, don't want to throw caution out the wind here, especially when you're at a precarious situation in a single round robin in a group stage like this. You don't need to make every game count. And DLSU being 0-1, of course, they realize that they need to play a little bit safer. Just look out for whatever USA is trying to throw out here. Meanwhile, USA, they want to maintain this undefeated, not really a streak. They want to remain undefeated so far here to get a better chance of getting out of the groups. But seems like our junglers will be starting on opposite sides of the map as expected, looking at these junglers that we have.
Yeah. And this means that they have less chances of meeting each other, considering that they will path towards the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like USA needs to stay careful, considering that this Hecarim will be USA bot lane rather would have to stay careful, considering that they have this Hecarim starting on the red side. This means USA bot lane might receive a gank by level 3, but looking at the way he's clearing, I feel like he's gonna go power farm until he's confident enough to dive instead.
Yeah, I think Hecarim does have the freedom to do that, unlike some of the other popular junglers that we have in collegiate, in the collegiate meta. Like, we've got people coming in with Kha'Zix, and that's a lot more reliant on getting those pickoffs early here. But this Hecarim is okay with just farming it out early, just scaling for a short time and get his Onslaught of Shadows up, and look for ganks opportunistically. But so far, let's see how Eternal plays this out. I think Kaoru is going to be satisfied doing his clears top and getting the scuttles on the way there.
And looks like both teams are still really feeling each other out. Hindi pa tayo nakakita ng very aggressive or very ballsy plays coming from both sides. And usually, ang nangyayari on teams that already know how the other team plays, talagang kinakapitalize nila yung errors before it's even shown. Kumbaga, alam na nila yung tendencies ng kalaban. But at this point, I feel like USA and DLSU, this is actually their first time matching up against each other on stream. So again, they gotta stay careful in the top lane though. Small trade-up.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be small here, and in the bot lane, yeah, this is really as expected. Whenever USA would want to go for a trade-in, DLSU's bot lane is gonna be able to repel that with the Unbreakable, and especially on this Jhin, which really likes all like single big shots. Of course, is natural to his kit. The Unbreakable really does a lot to hamper those trades, and on this Caitlyn. That just makes it even harder for USA here. They need to find a weakness and an opening here in this bot lane that the Zenith Blade can get into.
And that Braum pick is really great for DLSU, as you said. Jhin has 4 bullets, and Braum could probably block more than 3, or maybe block that crucial last bullet. Again, this Braum pick is a big counter to this Jin, especially even when the ultimate is
Yeah.
there. Ito na yung sinasabi ko sa'yo, Hyron. USA has got to stay careful right now. The Hecarim is already clearing the bottom side of the jungle for DLSU, and this could be a potential tower dive if they find the opportunity to do so. But for now, a small pause. I feel like one of our players are having technical issues that will be resolved in a few
Yeah, very
minutes.
soon. I think there's a
So
very
right
short
aside
pause.
dito, let's talk about the possibility of a dive in that bottom lane. Do you think it would happen, or do you think the Graves will be there in time?
It's very possible, no, but it's really all about Jin Leon. Jin Leona is not the type of bot lane that's all about holding out. So if Viridis Arcus pulls the trigger here and is able to execute it perfectly, juggle the tower aggro properly, then they can probably get a kill or maybe even both of them before the Graves can respond. But one wrong move, I think it's too risky to go for that tower dive here, knowing the pathing of the Graves.
Mhm.
If they have that intel on their
Oh
and
lord.
they can probably surmise. Cool.
And that risky maneuver in that bottom lane, let's see if mangyayari ba yun. The Hecarim is still there, but looks like the waves are already
Yeah.
equalized. So wala tayong makitang tower dive dyan. But the
On
Leona,
the upside,
the
though,
Hecarim, the
oh, oh,
Snare is there, and looks like the first blood will go to the hands of USA. Pero balik muna tayo sa base at balik din tayo ulit sa laban. I don't think it will continue anymore as the lanes are yet again equalized.
ooh, that is good there by USA. They know that this bot lane doesn't want to be the ones holding out, so they go for the aggressive move. They sniff out the horse in the jungle, and they take him out cleanly. I think that's a super good read there by USA, playing around what their champions are good at, and it not only gives their Graves a kill, it also slows down the jungle clear of this Hecarim.
Yeah. And it's very important to slow down this Hecarim early on because the moment this Hecarim hits that mid-game power spike, magsi-steamroll to eh. Literal, yung mid-game power spike ni Hecarim is so strong that he could turn the tide of one big team fight, especially around the first or second Drake mark. But speaking of Drake, I feel like the Graves is already taking it, but we are seeing things from DLSU. They know that the Graves is there, and this might be
This could
very
be a
risky
fight,
for
though.
USA. This might be a
Concussive
fight,
blows coming
Iron.
on to Genshin here. Top side, this could be dangerous for this Ornn. One more hit from his sword, but Proxilion will not be able to get the finishing blow back to bot side. It seems like Shinzo and Genshin are playing it really careful. They lost priority, and it seems like DLSU has the control over the Drake pit now as Kaoru was forced out of that pit.
Yeah, it's very hard to solo the Ocean Drake early on. Not only does it deal a significant amount of damage, but it also slows you down by a significant amount. And being a Graves, yes, you could solo it, but you gotta make sure na hindi kayo na, I mean, hindi ka nakita o hindi ka naramdaman na nagda-dragon ka because the moment that Kaoru started that jungle, we already saw pings coming in from DLSU. They knew that the dragon was being
Mhm.
taken even if they didn't have any wards there. So again, map awareness is key here for DLSU, and that not only awards them the dragon but also wastes the time of Kaoru. And again, Kaoru, I mean, not just Kaoru, but jungle role in general, time is your most valuable
Mhm.
asset.
Time is literally gold here for junglers, and uh, yeah, it's all about optimizing that route, optimizing the decisions you make there in Kaoru. I feel like USA did that right, correct? Like uh, Pards and Genshin and Shinzo were trying to get priority in their lane so that Kaoru could take the Drake quite uncontested, but DLSU sniffs them out. DLSU is able to call them on their play and fight back in terms they push back in terms of the shove, in terms of getting priority, and they are able to succeed, knowing that they're the ones with the advantage at that point in the game. And that basically gives Eternal a small redemption in his earlier death here, as he is still above in camps and now also above in terms of Drake control.
It's a very slow game so far for our first match. Wala pa masyadong aksyon na nangyayari dito. Only one kill on the table. And looking at the gold score, that's the only difference maker na nakikita natin. That's roughly a 200 gold lead, and that comes from the first blood. Because looking at the CS, Hecarim is still very much ahead against Kaoru over here.
Definitely. And yeah, despite the early kill there, And it's approaching that point where this Hecarim could be scary, right? Only has the Sheen completed, and it's definitely gonna pivot into Phage and Stinger later. But one wrong move here, since he is finishing his Triforce components first before the jungle item. One wrong move here from Eternal might invalidate the fact that he's building into that Triforce quite early. Not being able to get that jungle item slows down his clear, slows down his catch up if he makes a mistake and gets killed here. But it seems like they're continuing to play around the map here. Shinzo and Kaoru. Shinzo actually roamed, and Genshin as well, roamed all the way to Rift Herald, leaving your bot lane super exposed here.
This is a very risky rotation coming in from USA. Not only will you give free reign for the Caitlyn to just farm up plates and farm up your lane, but surrendering control in that bottom lane is not the best idea. And now we're looking at swap going in the top lane. Now the USA bot lane is there, and now the TF. This is gonna be dangerous for Park.
Seems like he's gonna get dove right here. It will depend if Duckman does have flashes, but still gets knocked off by the Glacial Fissure. Ignite onto the Braum here, but he's still gonna get mowed down by Duckman, and the Braum here being able to survive with a sliver of HP. USA is trying to take that trade. DLSU Proxilion here try and delay this turret take, but it seems USA will trade one kill, perhaps for first turret.
And
that will be the case.
Yeah, I feel like the Shen could have done more in that defense. I mean, he has the taunt, he has the shield. I feel like the USA would respect that. Getting taunted underneath turret is not the smartest of ideas, but looks like DLSU Proxilion would respect it instead. Personally, I call it na kaya niya yun. But looks like they don't want any mistakes. They want to limit the errors. Taking that risk wasn't enough for them, or wasn't worth it in general. So now we yet again have an equalized goal lead, 1-1.
Really even trades.
Okay, this is really close right now.
It's really even trades. Both of these teams, like you said, kanina, they're evenly matched. They're not gonna let them take an objective for free. Of course, earlier they made a play. USA lost the Ocean Drake for it, but they're not letting that stop them. They make an aggressive play topside. DLSU responds to this by going for the bot lane dive, and so far it's been evening out. USA, of course, starting to get a gold lead here. Of course, just from getting the first turret as well. Seems like it's gonna be tough here. Let's see if DLSU Eternal gets caught out here. Is able to get that vision ward.
Dragon will be spawning a few seconds from now, and we have to wait kung sinong mananalo dito for the contest in the Mountain Drake. I feel like no team would give it out uncontested, considering that both teams have the same amount of gold. I mean, Hecarim still doesn't have boots, but that doesn't matter. If you get a kill or land a great onslaught of shadows, you would have the position that you need to deal a lot of damage, and not only deal, but also tank a lot of damage. So I feel like this is all on Eternal right now for DLSU, because Kaoru is already starting this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, and this is the tankiest Drake in the game here, so they're definitely under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress here. And Kaoru actually gets pushed out of the Drake pit once again, has to flash back and does get the secure, and the fight breaks out. The Glacial Fissure comes through in the Drake pit to try and slow down USA. They're getting mowed down here, secure, but that's huge AoE damage coming in from Kaoru. Will that be enough to push them away? That's going to be the Deadly Flourish, almost killing Proxilion. Red card, not quite enough. Destiny comes through, and the shot means it's the end of the line for that Shen. Cards is coming through with his wild cards, gets one. Can he make it? A royal flush here as he tries to take on Duckman. Deadly Flourish once again means that those cards are in their hands. USA flashing in. Genshin with a shot for the double kill, and this is USA taking it away now, but trading kills as well.
Great play coming in from USA, but I have to say that DLSU, in response, they really didn't play that out well. Not only did they have a lot of miscommunication in that fight, but they've also pulled the trigger in the wrong times. Considering na makaka-escape na sana sila doon, the Hecarim still went for it. Eternal still went for it. He had the trust for his teammates, but still, trust should be leveraged with calculations. He was 200 HP with a Twisted Fate na meron ng hawak na red card. And red card deals 150 base plus damage. Literal one-shot na lang siya doon. But he still went for it. He wanted to gamble his chances. And again, Twisted Fate is the king of gambling.
Yeah,
They
house
lose
always
3
wins.
after that trade.
Definitely, game is rigged if you're gonna play cards with the pards. But yeah, I think Eternal really tried to go for the hero play there, but they just played into USA's comp, right? They have a lot of AOE damage from the yellow card, from the red card, from the wild cards, from Kaoru, and even Cyanide. So despite them being able to split apart USA, the fact remains that they still took too much damage early, which allowed Pards and Genshin and Kaoru to try and clean up. Like I said, this is a high threat team here from USA. They have 2 marksmen and they have this TF, which once it starts getting these items, when this ROA starts ramping up, is able to deal respectable damage here. The important thing for DLSU, oh, they're still fighting over this. Kaoru might be fighting off more than he could chew here. Onslaught of Shadows is not going to kill him, but Ace in the Hole definitely will be able to take him out with a headshot.
Apollo, with great reaction time over there, rewards him with a kill with Ace in the Hole. And now DLSU has got this game back in their hands. They are still down 1.2k, but that means after that kill, 2-1 and 3-9 Caitlyn. And this is very important because the Jin hasn't finished his Infinity Edge yet, and they have a chance to secure a little bit of, let's just say, skirmish wins, but looks like the Jin is already done with the Infinity Edge. Let's see. He is recalling right now, and that's the Infinity Edge. And again, equal na equal talaga tong game. It's so hard to analyze both teams when both of them commits the same kind of plays and the same kind of errors at the same time.
And I think it really just goes back to these teams being evenly matched here. Of course, DLSU, they still have they still have the experience here of Eternal and Duckman. USA, on the other hand, is mostly made up of it's basically not an entirely new roster here, because I think Genshin also played under a different name in Alliance League. But that aside, this is going to be the Rift Herald play for USA here. Let's see if DLSU is able to disrupt them, or will they just go for a mid lane play here? The bot lane of USA is going to come and respond to push away this wave, maybe catch someone out, but that is going to be the Solar Flare. They're all-inning on this Braum. Unbreakable from the side is not going to matter. Will Kaoru finish him off with the collateral damage? It doesn't seem like it, since it's on cooldown. And Pards, Destiny's in, but is unable to, or is present, but is unable to be super impactful there, but they still are able to secure this Rift Herald.
That's a great engage coming in from USA. They know na kaya nilang mag-burst down ng one target. It was a shame na yung Braum yung natamaan nila. They could have killed anyone else, but the Braum was a little bit too tanky to deal with at nadagdagan pa ng Shen ult. But now that the Shen ult is burned, they have priority over this dragon. They just have to control that wave. They still have a minute to do that. USA can push that pushing wave in the bottom lane and give them priority over this Drake. This Drake is very important considering that this is the first Infernal Drake, or third Drake overall. They need that bonus damage. They need that extra oomph to their punches.
Yeah, and the rest of the Drakes will also all be Infernal. And this just helps USA a lot. If they can secure this, this is going to become a wildfire out of control here for the Golden Eagles, since this is a team that wants to fight, that wants to be able to deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time here. But DLSU, they're the ones with initiative. This is a very, very squishy Drake. What's the play here for USA? They don't have vision. They just have barely a sliver of information here. But the steal coming in from Kaoru, and he flashes out easy. That's it with the Valkyrie. The package coming in from Duckman for revenge, but Cyanide is in the middle of everyone. Has to dash away. Deadly Flourish is able to get blocked here by Shidzo, and this is going to be the Destiny coming in from Parge, but will he get caught by the Teuton by Proxilion? And that is going to be USA picking up a shutdown kill on USA. Another kill in the hands of Apollo, and this is going to be mid lane in full control of DLSU, but the Drake in USA's hands.
Was it worth it? USA secures that Infernal Drake, but loses 3 men in that fight. And I just have to say, Proxilion with that flash taunt, that was the perfect flash taunt timing. The TF wasn't able to attack anyone else. Honestly, hindi ko nga nakita yung Twisted Fate. The moment he popped out there, the taunt was already there. That was it was perfect timing, man. Coming in from Proxilion, and not only that, the headshots were coming in. Caitlyn, Apollo was dealing so much damage after that fight, but sad for them, they didn't secure that Drake. Again, this is the second steal. the second steal from Kaoru, and the Smite War score check is 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yung Ocean Drake na yan, uncontested yan. So hindi natin yan i-count sa Smite War because there was no battle for it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so far Kaoru has been stepping up in terms of securing these objectives, but the rest of the team is kind of struggling to keep up with how he's able to do these things. Like earlier, I think Bards could have picked a better spot to Destiny into because he was just such easy fodder there for the taunts for the CC of DLSU. But I really like how DLSU played that out. Despite losing the Drake, they knew their priorities. They got they recognized, okay, Kaoru is a big threat. We got him super low, so Duckman was just able to go for the full package over him and clear him out. And from there, that's a pincer from Duckman and the rest of DLSU onto USA. And so far, this is getting scary, especially with the shutdown kills going to DLSU. Most of the gold being concentrated on the people that need it, Duckman and Apollo. It's starting to get scary here for USA, considering this is a comp that wants to win early.
And this is a Corki we're talking about. 3-0-5 already with the Manamune and 2 components to the Triforce. The moment he gets that Triforce, doon mo na mararamdaman yung damage ng Corki eh. Doon mo na makikita that why the hell didn't we shut him down earlier? And then the moment he gets that Infinity Edge or Rapid Fire Cannon, doon ka na lang mapapasalita ng bakit natin.
But they're gonna engage here. Destiny coming through. Oh, they're just gonna take down this Braum. Curtain call has been called, but is canceled soon after. It seems like the show has been postponed. But USA, they're satisfied with that kill. They're gonna pivot now, shove in mid lane, maybe make something happen topside.
The Braum has been the primary target. Weirdly enough, the Braum has been the primary target for USA, especially on pickoffs. I feel like they just go for whoever they see na out of position. Just so happens na yung Braum palagi yung nananatili sa likod. And rightly so, it is a Braum. But looks like bursting the Braum is... I'm not calling it a strategy. You would want to burst someone else, but having that 4v5 for most of the time would give them priority over objectives. But speaking of priority, Hyron, they haven't gotten good priority on objectives. All of their dragons right now are stolen from Eternal.
Mm-hmm. And so far, DLSU has been having a good time there, but in that regard. But despite the death here of their support, it seems like USA wasn't able to capitalize from it. They just got the gold and nothing else, because they expended Destiny, they expended the Solar Flare, even the Call of the Forge God. And I think that just lets DLSU basically sacrificing the Braum like a pawn to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. And time for Duckman Apollo to get their gold, buy it out, and come back stronger here. That might actually be USA losing tempo despite getting some kill there. And it seems like they will pull the trigger once again on Proxilion. They do have the full CC squad here. And this Shen is super, super tanky, but with no backup whatsoever. He's just going to get cut down. But let's look at a minimap. I mean, this guy's already dead. Let's look at a minimap. Because DLSU makes the play. They keep sacrificing their pawns here. They will go for the Baron, but the curtain call means that the show's over here for the Baron pit.
No, show's not over. Baron is already 1/4 HP as USA regains control. Graves already tanking a lot of damage. He goes down to Duckman, and this might be good. But the junglers are both down as the fight continues. DLSU is trying to kite it out, but that's another dead carry as the Caitlyn falls down. Solar Flare lands the mark with a snare, and looks like the Leona will finish off the Corki over there. The flashes are burned once again. The shutdown goes to Twisted Fate as the cars are set, and the Baron is going to the hands
teleport.
Wait a minute, the teleport is falling. The Shen, he's trying to create a hero play, but looks like the Baron is already too low, too done for USA. They secure the kill, secure the Baron, and this is USA taking control.
DLSU with a Baron throw. They already peeled away from it. They saw that USA is opportunistically trying to take that Baron for themselves, and DLSU's like, no, we can't let him take it. Not after all we've done. And so Eternal goes back in. He gets stuck in the pit and gets killed by Baron. USA is able to take full advantage of that, and they get absolutely wiped. And they just get in the second Infernal Drake here, possibly as a consolation prize. But USA here gets the the Infernal Drake on top of that, rather. And DLSU doesn't get anything, not even a consolation prize. And
DLSU.
they're in a bad position right now.
I have to agree with you over there, man. We have a 4K goal lead for the side of USA, but looks like the nerves are kicking in for DLSU. They haven't gotten a good play around objectives lately. Dragons were stolen, Barons were interrupted, and a lot of their objective takes are good calls. I mean, it's not a mistake. The way they executed is the mistake.
Mhm. And it's really the strategy was, as you said, correct, but the tactics used to try and get that strategy out. But it's going to be the package here coming onto Kaoru. Once again, they take out the jungler as soon as possible. The battle lines are split here with USA getting gated by Proxilion, but in the backside, Shinzo here trying to make some space for his team, but DLSU is all low here. Apollo's the only one super healthy. They do get the kill on the Leona. Parge and Genshin are left without a front line. They have to back off, and DLSU fighting back.
Yeah.
They know that this comp can handle the heat coming in from the Golden Eagles.
Look at the Corki. You have to take note of the Corki right now. Duckman is getting huge. This isn't a duck. I mean, I may oversized duck batayo, but this is turning to be a giant Duckman right now.
Oh,
Look at the damage. Look at the burst. A shutdown kill going to DLSU and to the hands of Duckman. Duckman already has the Muramana, has the Seal, has the Triforce, and pagbalik niyan sa base, it even might be a rapid fire cannon already. Oh! Another steal, the red buff going to the Jin instead.
Oh man, DLSU is not having a good time with these neutral objectives. But despite that, despite a lot of blunders, tactical blunders here coming in from Viridis Arcus, they can bank on their carries here. Duckman and Apollo, especially Duckman here. Only one death so far in a 13 death game for DLSU means that even when he's not playing Anivia, he's trying to become unkillable. He's positioning himself well. He knows when the opportunities are to go in, and he's acting upon them. But it's really just how they execute their strategies that's worrisome. Like, even if Duckman's able to get like these 1v3 wipes, it's going to be hard for them if they misplay against USA that can really capitalize on that with their high burst damage and their mobility around the map with pards.
Yeah. And Duckman right now looks to be the hope for DLSU. The gold lead is still quite insignificant at this phase of the game. And for USA, they need to make sure that the next Drake falls into their hands. That Infernal Drake will give them the final boost that they need to make sure that this Corki won't overwhelm everyone with damage, na makaka-respond sila in terms of damage. And looking at how Corki is right now, looks like the Phantom Dancer is the choice instead, not the Rapid Fire Cannon. He's going for more defense. He knows na papasukin na siya. He knows that he will be the next target. And that Phantom Dancer will be a great pickup for him. But looking at USA right now, they need to stay calm, stay composed, and get that next Drake. That is the key to victory for them right now.
Yeah, victory condition here for USA is just to top off more of that Infernal Drake damage in their hands here. And we can see here that Pards is shoving down that bot wave here, setting up the wave so they have control over this Drake pit. Excuse me, the environs of this Drake pit. But so far, DLSU's been aggressive with taking back the vision control over this area as well. Scuttles are about to spawn in their favor too. So they have this, they basically, for the next minute or so, they will have better control over this area, and USA has to play around carefully.
And equalized na rin ang jungle XP natin dito. Both junglers are level 13, and this is very important to take note. They have the same smite damage. There's no excuse for Eternal to not be able to secure the next Drake if ever magkakaroon ng contest doon. But look at this, USA, very beautiful rotation in the jungle area of DLSU. They are clearing out those wards, making sure that they have priority over this dragon, and this is very important. And DLSU responds with the same play, and this is the mark of two experienced teams trying to fight it out.
Top side, though, really risky. This is a big wave coming in from Proxilion, and USA uses this opportunity to try and take some territory in this bottom side of the map before 15 seconds to Drake. A Destiny's call just to see where everyone is going, and it seems like they will get a Death Brush around, set up a Death Brush maybe, set down some more vision. They're just waiting for this Infernal Drake to spawn. DLSU is not currently. Oh, but they're gonna go straight in, get stunned out of the charge. The Onslaught of Shadow still comes through. That might be it. Eternal's taking a lot of damage here for Shinzo and Kaoru. And the end of the line here coming in from this Graves is doing so much. And Duckman is trying the best he can, having to flash away. This is a lot of AoE damage. The curtain call has been laid down. Duckman, happy feet on this plane here. Can he clutch this? Zenith Blade just barely misses. He's not dealing enough damage on Cyanide. The Infernal Soul gets secured. And at this point, this is just a death sentence. A firing squad to hunt down Duckman. But he's not having any of it. He's using a Triforce speed. But the slow from Genshin is enough to secure the shutdown. And it's going to be USA with another ace. And pinging the Baron is their next call.
Did you see Duckman sidestep in that fight? He dodged 3 key skill shots, but still, the overall win coming in from USA from that fight, securing the Infernal Soul, securing kills right after, is just too much to take, even for a player the caliber of Duckman. This goes to show that this is a 5v5 game. Again, it's a 5v5 game. USA is a cohesive unit that plays as one. And this is very important because that gives you wins. Hindi to solo show. This isn't a hero play moment. And USA, they move as one. This is a very, let's just say, important part of competitive League of Legends.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I feel like entirely on DLSU is that they make these really hasty plays. Yes, they do have the Hecarim, they do have the Glacial Fissure, but this is against USA here. You really saw that Eternal really pushed for that engage with the Onslaught of Shadows, despite getting stunned, despite getting rooted. He still went for it, and that I think really mispositioned DLSU in that Riverside and allowed USA to get a 90-degree pincer on them. And so far, my read on it is that Duckman is really high individual skill, but it seems like the rest of he's mildly getting gated by his team on how they execute these plays.
I mean, sometimes really just things happen. But looking at how they play, I mean, individually, I don't think there are a lot of differences. It's just how they make their calls. Look at, wala tayong replay function for now, but let's look at what happened that last fight for the Infernal Drake. DLSU was the one to pull the trigger. They were the ones who charged with the Hecarim already with the Shen ult, and that was telegraphed almost immediately. Kitang-kita na yon because the Hecarim was running more than, let's just say, sobrang haba ng tinakbo ng Hecarim without any hiding. Literally, it was a straight run. It felt like a sprint. And then the TF was just like, gold card. And the charge was stopped, as you said earlier, and they had to use that Onslaught of Shadows early, because if they can't pop up with that Onslaught, the Shen ult won't even matter because walang distance na masisave dahil dun sa Stand United. So for DLSU, it's not about their individual skill. It's mostly how they play around these team fights, how they play around those objectives. Because laning-wise, they're okay. We've seen it. They've sometimes won their trades and majority na i-equalize naman nila. Pero pagdating sa team fighting, it's like they're always scrambled. They don't know what to do or when to do things. And man, they have to work on their team fighting if they want to win this game.
Yeah, and that's what makes team fighting like a lot of people say that team fighting is mostly about just their mechanics and skill, but it's also about fighting as a unit and being able to act upon the calls. Like you're gonna go, Graves. You have to already know what to do to act upon that call in comms. And it seems like Viridis Arcus needs to polish up on that. And it seems like Golden Eagles is looking super strong, at least against Viridis Arcus here. And if they get this 2-0, they're in a very good position to contest that number 1 spot in this group.
I have to agree with you over there. And for our groups, tingnan natin dito yung standings. Group C has the University of Santo Tomas del Tigers at the top, and at the bottom, Recticano Esports from USLS. Let's look at Group A right now. UPB and Golden Eagles are the ones to contest for that top spot in Group C. So if they win this one game against DLSU right now, they will be the top 1 for now. Depende sa Oblation Esports game natin mamaya dahil magkakaroon din tayo.
UPD versus How Black.
Na ulit tayo, Hyron. nandito na ulit tayo in the Rift as Kaoru. I feel like Kaoru was the one who was experiencing technical difficulties. That
We're
resolved
back, though.
and we're back in the game.
Yeah, casually just clear Gomp after DCing, and it seems like USA here looking to finish the game. They do have Baron buff, they have Infernal Soul. They just need to start setting the fire up in DLSU's base. Start firing up the cannon and charge the walls of DLSU's base here.
Yeah, and so far, Genshin already with that Guardian Angel, it's gonna be a crucial item for them. Having that carry, I mean, na may second life, it's very important because pag namatay yung Jin nyo, most likely, you will lose half or even, let's say, just say 1/3 of your DPS because at this point, look at that crit, 1,160 on a minion. And on champions with the Infernal Soul, that would even hurt more. Again, Jin scales off damage ng sobra-sobra. He translates movement speed and attack speed into damage. And that's also amplified by the three
Infernal. Okay, we gotta watch those big numbers coming in from Genshin. And yeah, as is natural when you take Baron, you have TF as well. You start shoving in these side waves, playing it 1-1 and 3. And this is going to start choking out DLSU at this point. And Viridis Arcus, they are feeling immense pressure right now. And look at that, they're not even defending topside. They have to allocate resources closer to their base because they can't risk being caught out in the open outside of their own inhibitor turrets.
And man, right now, nagta-turtle na yung DLSU. And this is because of the pressure na nabigay ng Infernal Soul for USA. They can't pick off fights ng biglaan. I feel like the main call right now for DLSU is to try to buy time as much as possible and try to fight for the next Drake or next Baron. Actually, next major objective. Because as for now, Infernal Soul and Baron empowered minions, they have nothing to show to USA.
But if they can get Infernal, or if they can get their own Baron, then that might be something that they can use to claw back into this game. Because they have the Corki, which is super, super scary late game. And they have the Caitlyn as well, which can act a lot more safely if Ferdinand is able to just clear him out, get that heal. But it seems like they're just getting choked out here by getting their inhibitor turrets down one by one. They, despite having a trap line from their turrets, they can just walk over it, and the inhibitor will be the next target. And this is going to make it harder for DLSU to contest these future objectives, especially if two inhibitors are down here. But DLSU's charging in, looking to pull the trigger, looking in, the devastating charge coming in from Eternal, but he gets out and goes back in with the onslaught of Shadow splitting apart USA here, but it's USA being able to regroup at this point, and Kaoru is here for the party. Is it the end of the line for DLSU? Curtain call has been laid down, and this is a lot of AoE damage coming in from USA. Xenoblade Eclipse coming in for that protection. Kaoru, this is going to be Apollo sniping it out. Can he repel Genshin and Cyanide? An inhibitor is starting to fall down, and Genshin is able to get that inhibitor, and it is a 3-for-3, but an inhibitor down for DLSU.
Crucial mistake coming in from Duckman. He will have or had the flash at that moment. Feeling ko, wala pa siyang flash nun. He didn't have the flash, and he dashed right into the fray of that battle, and got hit by a solar flare. And I just have to say, Shinzo's solar flare in this game, wala pa tumama na slow lang. It's always a stun right in the center. And that's very important when you're playing a champion like Leona. Having that accuracy with a solar flare just saves you so much time, gives your team more time to work around with, and time is all they need when they want to choke out Duckman. And Duckman placed himself in a very bad place there. He dashed right into three people, wasn't given the chance to use his second Valkyrie, mainly because of the solar flare immediately landing. And this is a good play coming in, not just from Shinzo, but for USA telegraphing that whole scenario.
They see it coming, and that's always the problem with Eternal so far. Like, when they start to pull the trigger, you can see it coming from a mile away. Who's gonna miss a huge, like, 10-ton Centaur barreling down a top side? USA sees it from a mile away. They can prepare the gold card, they can prepare the solar flare, they can prepare the Call of the Forge God even. And at this point, with 2 inhibitors down, DLSU is taking a huge risk trying to contest this Drake, this Elder Drake, I might add. But if they get this, it could be enough to turn the tides ever so slightly. But with
Check the minute.
Pards checking on that Nexus, and right now, USA will want to delay these backs. It could possibly mean that Parge is just going to go for the pincer onto DLSU. Proxilion here going to go for the taunt. Call of the Forge God comes in. Onslaught of Shadows hits nothing. And he has a devastating charge onto Kaoru. Has to go golden and gets shot down. Gets put down. That horse is limping. And no, he's already dead. And there's going to be Duckman trying to fight it out. But he does get the kill onto Kaoru. But he himself gets taken down here. This is going to be a 1-for-3 so far. Apollo, though, with the protection of his support, able to clear out another member of USA. Parge goes down. It is going to be Shinzo looking for something, but...
Oh boy!
Shinzo! This is the game. This... If you look at the base, this Genshin is already tearing down this Nexus. Shinzo basically did his job there, delaying, preventing DLSU from backing, and USA going 2-0 here against in this group.
Man,
huge lead here.
3 bullets and 3 dead bodies. That's how big Jin was in that late game. Nakita mo, the Phantom Dancer shield. Ba't kasi sabing nakita mo? Hindi ko nga nakita yung Phantom Dancer shield. That crit was so massive, plus the Infernal Drake damage. They just didn't stand a chance. Right-click to win na lang yung Jin. Literal, every bullet that comes out of his gun would mean a death for DLSU. And now that they're 0-2, this almost kills their chances to get out of their groups. Sobrang slim na lang. They need to actually
have. I don't think they can, because
may triple tie scenario.
If possibly, but even then, if you're 1-2, even if you go 1-2, there's no way you're gonna beat the 2-1, right? Unless they 2. Wait,
you know what? Math is not our strong suit.
Math is hard. Math is hard.
Let's just agree to not create computations in a tree.
No. But if since it's a single round robin with 4 teams in a group, that means that each team will face 3 other teams, right? Is my math correct?
Yo, you know what? Okay, we have 4. Ito na. 4 viewers over there.
Oh no. Sorry. This 8 teams. Sorry, my bad. I'm dumb. My math is so bad right now.
We have 4 groups with 4 teams each.
No.
Round robin.
Yeah. That means if Viridis Arcus goes 1-2, they still can't beat a 2-1 or a 3-0, right? Either way. What I have to point out here is that the Golden Eagles roster that we are looking at now is performing so much better than the Golden Eagles roster from Alliance League previously, right? Like, in the group stage of Alliance League, I think USA had like at least 3 losses in their group. So this is actually a huge improvement here from Golden Eagles. X-Haste, now Genshin, being able to go 1 death and like 20 total kills and assists has such a huge improvement and much better chemistry with the rest of his team.
Mm-hmm. And now let's look at the schedule that we have for today. Our next game would also determine the placements for Group B. Again, Golden Eagles and DLSU are from Group B. Now, the next Group B match na papanoorin natin is between Oblation Esports and Archangels Black. Oblation Esports is 1-0 right now, while Archangels Black are 0-1. If Oblation Esports is able to secure a win here, that makes them 2-0. Pwede na nilang pantayin yung Golden Eagles, and now Golden Eagles and Oblation Esports are the teams to watch for Group. Ano ba talaga? Wait lang, Group A nakalagay dito, pero sa Group B. So Group A pala sila. Yeah. Group A, ang standings natin dito for Oblation Esports and USA. So for now, let's just wait for Oblation Esports. Next match natin yan. Any final thoughts? Actually, wait lang may winner pa ata tayo sa chat rally or hindi pa ba magdadraw? Let's wait for that. But for now, let's talk about the game. What happened for USA? What went right for them?
I think at first it was like back and forth, right? At that time, but the longer the game goes, the more decisions that you have to make. And the more decisions you make in a day, the more mistakes you're likely to get. I think what happened there for USA is just they knew their comp, they played consistently around their comp, they knew which objectives to trade, they knew which rotations to take, and that basically allowed them to slowly outpace the opposition here. And once they get in that groove, they're already well and beyond the lead that DLSU was comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. And for DLSU, they really played it well early on in the mid game. But again, the team fighting difference and the difference between them in taking objectives has been really apparent in this matchup, and they need to work on that. But for now, congratulations again for University of San Agustin Golden Eagles for securing that 2-0 for their groups. Abangan nyo ang Oblation Esports versus
I'm
Valiant
excited.
Archangels Black for our next match of the day. Muli, kami ang naging casters nyo. My name is Oomi at kasama ko dito si Hyron, and we will be right back after a quick break.